All right, everyone, let's get started. First off, welcome and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to learn a little bit more about Austin Adventures, how we got hooked up with Wildland and what's going on. So as I mentioned a minute ago before we get started, these Zoom calls, they take up a lot of bandwidth. If you got a minute to kind of just shut down some of your other programs, it's typically worth doing. So with all that said, let's get started. Let's get this party started. And welcome again. Thank you. All right, first off, let me introduce myself. I'm your host today. I'm the CEO and founder of Austin Adventures. I've been working in adventure travel for, well, let's say too many decades to count, about 30 years now. I had my first stint in adventure travel when I owned a small raft company back in the Pacific Northwest back in the 70s, if that isn't dating myself. I still manage the day-to-day business with a great team here in Billings, Montana. But again, we're going to talk more about who is Austin Adventures shortly. So let's get started. All right, today we're going to cover a lot of ground, starting with a bit about why Kurt and the Wildland team chose to partner with Austin Adventures to carry on their legacy. That was quite an honor for us and goes back quite a ways putting it together, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that because the one common thread we have here is everybody joining this webinar today are either Wildland alumni or people that were on the Wildlands database. So you already know a little bit about Kurt and Ann and the Wildland team. So we're going to bridge that gap a little bit today. We want to share a little bit more about who really is Austin Adventures and what we do, where we travel, our top sellers, a couple of exciting trips hosted by Kurt and Ann today, what we're seeing out there in the adventure world post-COVID. And it is, you know, things are opening up. It's getting a little bit crazy out there. And of course, my favorite is Q&A, stump the chump, if you will. So please get your questions together. Type them in that little question box down at the bottom. You'll see that. And then I'll try and get to all of those before we call it a day. So please just literally, let's see, somebody already asked a question. Are we only on audio? No, you should be seeing video as well. I don't see any other problem I'm hearing from anybody else, but might be something set up with on your end. So we are seeing, I am sharing a slide deck, if you will. So again, let's get rolling here. So first, let's talk a little about how we got to where we are today. By now, you all know we acquired Wildland Adventures late last fall. It was actually a really easy transaction. We've known each other so long. We've run in a lot of the same circles. We've used a lot of the same partners around the world. Kurt and I have known each other for some 25 years. We were both founding members of the Adventure Travel Trade Association. We even started our own little consortium about 20 years ago, Trusted Adventures. Again, that was a great little project we did together. Over the years, our friendship turned to a high level of trust, and just literally, again, we're kindred spirits. We shared a common core value of sustainability and commitment to unparalleled customer service. We had many of the same common or similar adventures across the globe. Example, we use the same Costa Rica partner, Sun Tours, probably the best partner either of us could possibly have in Costa Rica. So it really just was a natural transition. It was but how it all came to be. It started on a phone call with Kurt and I. It was supposed to be a Zoom call with 20 people. Somehow Kurt and I got our times off, and we ended up the only ones on the call. And we just started talking about how we were both doing, and literally Kurt started talking about how he's been trying to retire and figure out how to do that. We started talking about we were actually managing during COVID because we have a lot of North America product. One thing led to another. On that very call, we kicked around some rough terms and ideas of how we might make this work. We virtually shook hands, and the rest is now history. And then once we acquired Wildland in late October, we immediately adopted the Wildland guests and prospects into the Austin family. We integrated the Wildland style of travel in our international portfolio. Kurt stayed on to ensure a smooth transition. Him and Ann will be hosting 2 trips. Right now, they're currently scheduled to host 2 trips, one in Baja and one down in Africa. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. We really enjoyed working with the Wildland guests. Again, it's a challenging time. Many of them we've had to move 2 and 3 and 4 times. as things open up and then close and open back up. But again, it was like working with our families, sharing similar goals and aspirations as our guests. So it was really quite natural. So again, Wildland Adventures had an extensive history of operating safaris around and cultural centric international trips. Really a lot in Africa, a lot in Latin America, and Southeast Asia as well. While we've been running trips around those same areas for years, we felt like Wildland had a bigger footprint on the international stuff. We had a bigger footprint on the domestic stuff. The national parks of the West have been our bread and butter for some 35 years. So we saw an opportunity to capitalize on their 35 years and add new destinations, add new trips, add new expertise, picked up a few great partners, picked up some great staff. So we saw a real opportunity to expand our international footprint. Probably not the best time during all this COVID hysteria we're dealing with, but we figured it was a good time to be able to grab that expertise that Kurt and Ann and the Wildland teams brought to the table. So now let's take a minute and talk a little bit about Austin Adventures, who we are and what we do, and do, in our opinion, very well. First off, we like to consider ourselves a family-owned and operated boutique travel company. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but we're based here in Billings, Montana. We've been doing it 35 years. We've been delivering some of the most memorable travel experiences on the planet. Numerous accolades. Twice now we're honored to be awarded the world's best tour operator by Travel and Leisure magazine. And for a company our size, that really is a testimony to our staff and how hard they work to deliver on our promises. Our mission is to deliver experience so incredible our guests consider them to be some of the best moments in their lives. And for us, that's quite rewarding. We achieve that goal by taking the time to really get to know our customers and their needs, and then designing experiences for them based on the knowledge coupled with our deep expertise in the regions that we are visiting. We absolutely love our customers, and we are so grateful for they feel the same way about us. We always look at it like an extension of our family. In fact, we look at our guides and our staff as an extension of our family. It really is all, and again, I'm overusing the term, it really is all about family, and that works for us. We are, like I say, family owned and operated. That picture there, that's me on the left. That's my wife, Carol, on the right next to me. She's our customer service expert. That's a new role for her. We took 25 years of experience and figured, you know what, let's put Carol on the front line. So often when you call in, that's who you'll talk to first. We've got a great support team behind the scenes, but we want to put our best foot forward. Similarly, that's Casey, my daughter. She's our president. She's been doing this since she was a little peanut, and she completely runs our operations, does all of our guide hiring, all of our guide training, a lot of our itineraries and our custom programs. She's been great for the last 20 years. The big guy's my son, Andy. He still guides for us a little bit, but Andy's found his own niche as an award-winning photographer. In fact, the cover of National Geographic. He's quite the photographer. A lot of our images Andy shot. Let me just stop for just a second here and check questions. I see. Okay, we'll save those to the end. So I'll get to those at the end. I just want to make sure no one's having any problems. So again, that's my family. That's my dog, Ketchy. And would like to welcome you guys to that family as well. Like I said, we treat every guest like family. Our goal is to make sure everyone we interact with, guests, partners, employees, suppliers, everyone feels like a valued member of the Austin family. In fact, we really like you to feel like you're our favorite family member. We like to exceed all expectations. We do not sell tours. We sell experiences people cherish for a lifetime. And I mean that. That sounds a little corny, but you know, creating these award-winning vacations, it's really about creating the potential for memories. It's really important for us to hit that mark and make sure whatever you're looking for on your trip, we're delivering on it. We also recognize that every interaction we have pre-trip, on the trip, or even post-trip is an opportunity to make our customers or our partners fall in love with us just a tiny bit more. And we do everything we can to make sure that happens. And again, it's all about connections. creating meaningful connections. We feel a deep responsibility to protect this big, beautiful world of ours. We live in it, and to do so by ensuring experiences we create are meaningful, not only to the guests, but also the communities we visit, the environment, and the society. The travel experience that we like to design offer the perfect blend of one-of-a-kind experiences and awe-inspiring nature. That's what we do, whether it be in Yellowstone or in Kenya. It's all about visiting nature in an appropriate manner. Behind-the-scene access to authentic, untouristed, and unexpected activities that accommodate all fitness levels. I always like to use the example of in Yellowstone, they'll see 4 million visitors a year. But we're going to get you behind those scenes. We're going to get you, a different view of Old Faithful without the crowds. We also like those authentic cultural experiences. We don't like to go to the, I always joke, the truck stop sideshows. No, we want to meet the real people. We want to meet those real families. We got a great trip in Costa Rica. I did one of my last trips last year, and we had dinner with a family in their home, and grandpa and grandpa, the grandson and the son all got out and played the xylophones for us. And we ended up staying there till 1 o'clock in the morning, just having a great time, but it was truly authentic. Our guides are the best. Our guides are our employees. They've been with us, many of them for 15, 20 years. They come back year after year. We work hard to train them. We just finished a huge year of hiring this year. And I would say for every guide we hired, we probably interviewed 30. They're fun-loving, they're well-educated, they have deep expertise in culture, cuisine, art, history, economy, politics, religion, everything. They know everything about the areas, and they're just these great traveling companions. We typically run with a strict 6-to-1 guest-to-guide ratio. So on our domestic, international trips, for every 6 guests, we have at least 1 guide, because we know that's the formula for that guide listening to the guests and making sure they come up with exactly what they're looking for. The travel experience that we've designed offer the perfect blend, one-of-a-kind experiences and awe-inspiring nature, behind-the-scenes access, authentic, untouristed areas whenever possible, authentic, as I mentioned, culture experiences, great chef-inspired cuisine. That's a big part of what we do, whether it be the guide picnics, a local bistro, a 5-star Michelin restaurant. Let's face it, we all go on vacation to eat. And that's an important part of the trip. Stunning boutique hotels. We used to say we stay at 5-star hotels, but we don't. We stay in the most appropriate hotel for every given region. In other words, if you're in Yellowstone, you really want to stay at Old Faithful Lodge. If you're in Montana, maybe it's a guest ranch. If you're down in Africa, it's some of the most phenomenal camps on the planet. So it's really what we've settled on over the years is that most appropriate accommodations for the area. So who are our travelers? We break our adventures up into 2 basic categories, adults and family. It's that easy. We design family trips for families, adult trips for adults. Within those 2 segments, we have lots of subcategories like single, women only, solos, multi-gen, again, lots of different categories within those. But it basically comes down to adult trips built for travelers 16 and up, designed to include longer, more rigorous options when it comes to activities like hikes or bike rides, includes activities appropriate for adults like obviously wine tasting or cooking demonstration, as much quiet time as you're looking for. Again, these work great for couples, solos, singles, women, wide range of travelers, but all with that common passion for travel, adventure, and meeting new people and seeing new places. Family adventures, we really work hard to build specific family adventures. That's one of the things we do a lot more of than perhaps Wildland did. We run a lot of family adventures, and they're specifically designed for families. And the key to that is making sure there's something for everyone. Something for the kids, something for the parents, something for the grandparents, for the kids to be kids, time for the parents to be adults, but also time for family time together. So a little bit of everything. Typically designed for kids 5 and up. Some of the more challenging trips, maybe it's 7, but literally again 5 and up. We'll talk a little bit more about custom departures, no age limits. We can take anybody on anything for those customer exclusive trips. Typically for the family trips, we like to go up to 18, 12 on the adult. And the reason is we found that families with more kids, better time. We bring a third guide just for the kids, and literally that's kind of the fun, cool guide. Within that family sector, we're seeing a ton of multi-generational families. That's probably the fastest growing segment of our business. Year after year, more so now, we're seeing the grandparents bringing back the kids and the grandkids. We love those trips. We love working with you to build them. And again, the key is making sure we pick the right destination and we clearly have something for everyone, from the youngest to the oldest. And it's funny how I say it's almost like you come full circle. By the time, the grandkids and the grandparents all are about looking for that same activity level and often some of the same interests. So it's actually a lot easier than you might think. Some new products we have some women-only adventures. Got a great one coming up in Costa Rica here. Got another one in Iceland this fall, and another one in Machu Picchu this December. So another thing that we want to talk about is a little bit of our adventure styles. Most of our, and again, it's a little bit different than Wildland, or a little bit different than maybe what we do in Africa, but a lot of our trips are multi-sport adventures. That means we're hiking, we're biking. If we're up in Alaska, we're sea kayaking. If we're in Montana, we might be horseback riding or rafting the Yellowstone River, but they're multi-sport. In Africa, a little bit more focus on the wildlife or the culture. But again, the same element. They're all a bit active. They're all about, we're not going sitting on a beach drinking Mai Tais. We are about immersing ourselves in that local region. The multi-sport's great because it's designed to get the absolute most out of each of the destinations we visit. We explore off the beaten path while doing a variety of activities, all introduced in a way that you could be an expert cyclist, and we're going to get you the miles you're looking for. You could haven't been on a bike in 20 years, and we're going to make it just right for you. It really makes for a great combination during the week, because, for example, on a hiking trip, if it's a hiking dedicated trip, and we do have some hiking only, you've got to find day after day after day of the perfect hike. Well, with a multi-sport, today might be a great destination for hiking, and tomorrow might be a great destination for biking. Or we might want to raft, or combine a more surf and turf, as we like to call it, raft in the morning and horseback ride in the afternoon. So multi-sport gives us a really lot of great opportunity to have some great adventures. We do have some dedicated biking only programs, mostly in Europe. We have an office in Nijmegen, Holland. We've been doing Amsterdam and the Netherlands, Austria. One of my favorite trips on the planet is our Moselle trip in Germany. It's 6 days of downhill biking on a bike path along the Moselle River from hamlet to hamlet. It's phenomenal, great introduction to European cycling. We've got some great hiking only trips in Peru, like to Machu Picchu, the Salcani Trail, down in Bryson, Zion, a little closer to home. So lots of different opportunities out there. And really, obviously, we can't cover them all in this short time we have together today. Just calling the office and talking to any of our adventure consultants is a great way, or of course, visiting the website. Another big part of our business that's growing leaps and bounds is custom departures. These trips, customs and exclusives. I'll tell you the difference. So a custom is clearly you dream it, we can build it. And you would not believe some of the trips we've done. I mean, literally over the top, private jets, antique cars, biplanes, you name it, hot air balloons, private chefs. We've done it all, and we really like doing that. We've seen a lot of those. People want to travel in their bubble. They want to do their thing. We like to really, again, listen to you, work with you to build the perfect trip. An exclusive, it's still your trip, but you're taking over one of our scheduled departures. So literally, we have about 70% of what we do is scheduled departures around the world. A lot, again, in the national parks. You and your group of 10, 12, 16 friends can take over one of our scheduled departures for no service charge or anything. And again, the third one, similar, it's really a custom program, but one of the things that's really growing for us are homestays. And what we do there is we go out and we find that we have relationships all over the country. We find the perfect lodge, executive retreat, home, cabin, depending on the size of the group. We take that over, we rent that, we take that over, and that's our home base for the week. We'll bring in a chef, we'll bring in a sommelier, we'll bring in the guides, and we'll use that as a home base. That one in the picture there, that's in North Carolina, and we just did a group there of, I believe it was 18. We had a chef, we had a sommelier, we had 2 guides. Great program. And I think that's about it. Let's see. So now the next question is, where do we go? Great question. It's almost easier to say where we don't, especially since we added the Wildland product to our portfolio. Literally, we're on all 7 continents. We've got 140 some itineraries all over the world. And again, as we're starting to see the world open up, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But if you don't see what we're looking for, you go to the website, can't find it, there's an awful lot there. We always suggest you ask, because even if we don't go there, we probably know who does and does well, and would be happy to make those recommendations for you. So it never hurts to, or we went there years ago, or we're planning on going there soon and we just haven't got it on the website yet. So let's talk real quick. Every year our domestic trips in the western part of the United States are bread and butter. They've been popular. Yellowstone's been our #1 seller for some 35 years. We can do Yellowstone better than anybody. It's about 3 hours from our office here, and it literally is our backyard. So Yellowstone's #1. Alaska's huge. We have a great land-based program in Alaska. A lot of people think they have to go on cruise in Alaska. We actually do a lot of the same things as the cruise ships do. In fact, this year's a great year to visit Alaska because the big cruise ships aren't up there. But we're sea kayaking. We take the train through the backcountry. We're hiking. We're biking. We're visiting the Seward and Resurrection Bay and the glaciers. Great program. Alberta, our Canadian Rockies program, has been a top seller for us for years. Unfortunately, Canadian Rockies have been shut down now, as we all know, for 2 years. They just lost their 2nd season due to border closures, but we're expecting them to open up in a big way next year. So we're actually doubling down and making sure we have plenty of programs for Canadian Rockies. Montana, that's our backyard. We have a great program that does 3 distinct regions, all north in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. Starts in Gallatin Canyon, goes into Yellowstone, ends in Paradise Valley. We're hiking, we're biking, we're rafting, we're horseback riding, we're zip lining. It's a great active trip for young families. A lot of fun. South Dakota, I always say, is overlooked. It's way more than just Mount Rushmore. There's Custer State Park, which rivals Yellowstone for its wildlife. There's the old Western history town of Deadwood. Just a great destination. Yosemite, one of the most iconic parks in the country. I always like to use Yosemite as an example of why a tour operator adds value. It's a very small park and gets a lot of visitors. And we're experts at getting you behind the scenes, seeing those same iconic destinations or iconic sites without the crowds. Glacier National Park, same thing. Glacier's just north of us here, a few hours. It's our nation's first peace park. Pretty active, we always like to also pair people up with trips to their abilities. Glacier's a little more challenging. We've got the Going to the Sun Highway. We've got the hike to Iceberg Lake. Great program. Literally, Glacier is going to get super busy this year, and we're already up there scouting it out and making sure we can get away from those crowds. Bryce and Zion's one of our hiking programs. I love the Southwest. We're actually down there now. We're running trips down there today. And we do some of the most iconic hikes in the world in the Narrows and Angel's Landing. Grand Canyon, so much more than just the big ditch. We're in Prescott. We're in Sedona. It's a great trip. We're, again, hiking and biking. And then our new North Carolina program. I can't believe it took me this long to find North Carolina. We opened it up last year. Super popular program. The Blue Ridge Parkway is amazing. Asheville is kind of a fun town. Visit a cool town called Banner Elk, a little mountain community. Great program. International travel is making a comeback. I mean, it literally is. It's fascinating to watch every day. Things opening up. In fact, I literally just got back with my entire family. That picture there on the left. That's my wonderful crew there. We just got back from our first trip in 14 months. We all flew to Baja. The tent there you see is actually all those pictures are from our trip to Baja. amazing trip, and I was really pleased with how serious the Mexican people are taking the virus. They don't have the vaccines like we have here. We were all fortunately vaccinated, but they really took safety protocols, really careful, super easy. We had to get tested before we came back into the country, and they actually had a medic come out to the hotel and give us our instant tests at the hotel on our last day. Super easy to do. While getting back through customs in the US was super easy, a lot less people traveling than we're kind of used to. So it was pretty easy to navigate, but it is definitely opening up. I promise, and I guess I'll go back, it's definitely opened up. Some of the countries we're seeing first light. We're down in the Galapagos right now. We're down in Costa Rica right now. Iceland is opening up. Croatia is opening up. We're actually starting to see some pretty good travel. My wife and I are going to Kenya and Tanzania this August. Pretty excited about that. That's our founders trip. We've got a women's only trip to Costa Rica this October, hosted by my daughter Casey. And of course, the two trips that, let's see, we'll talk about that in a minute. I've got to get to those. The last one I'll mention is Ron Van Dyke is probably the most prominent guide in all of Europe. He left us for a few years. He's been around 40 years. He's coming back to guide a special Italy trip this October. Let's talk about the two trips real quick that Kurt and Ann are going to host. Would love to have you join them. One of them is our Baja trip, the one that I just did. Came back and raved about it to Kurt. Him and Ann signed up. They're going to host a trip down there. Let's see, I'm not sure exactly when. Oh, it's next December. Great program. We're glamping. We're spending time in Todos Santos. We go out to an island it's just a really neat experience. Another one that got delayed because of COVID is the Water for Wenge trip. And a lot of you are already signed up for that. And Kurt and Ann have been planning on this trip for years. So when we took over the company, we had to do some real rescheduling to get both them and the trip rescheduled. But it's all set now for next year. Super excited about it. It goes to support the people of Wenge. It's a great program. Super excited to have Kurt and Ann hosting it, and just really reconnecting with their travelers. So again, as I mentioned, Peru's opening up, Ecuador and the Galapagos, Greece, Iceland, Tanzania, Baja, Costa Rica, South Africa is opening up, Croatia and Botswana. So we're really starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. Every day is a challenge for us. We start thinking that someplace is going to open or it does open and it closes back down. But that's the value of going with a tour operator. The value of using a tour operator is we are on it every day. We are constantly monitoring the situation. We're constantly monitoring what regulations are required, what's safe, what's not, and literally that's our job. And so, we get up every single day and are checking with the CDC and the tourism boards and all over the world, making sure that we can deliver on our promise to that kind of stress-free vacation. And what we're seeing is small group travel is definitely making a comeback. We kind of feel that the adventure traveler, the intrepid adventure traveler, are going to be the first back. We're not going to let this slow us down. I mean, I couldn't wait to get on an airplane, couldn't wait to bring my family down to Baja. I'm now ready for my next trip. So literally, I think the adventure travel community is a super strong community, and they're the first to return to travel. All right, I think that's about it. And I think what I'd like to do now is make sure I try and allow some time to get your questions. I know that was a lot to cover fast. I'm available 24/7. Literally, if you email me at dan@austinadventures.com, that's Dan, simply Dan@austinadventures.com. I'm an email addict, 24/7. Every single guest gets my email address and my cell phone number. That's one of the things we really pride ourselves in, is making ourselves available 24/7, whether you're on a trip, thinking about a trip, love to hear about the trip, whatever works. Don't hesitate to call. Again, every guest gets my cell phone number, every guest gets my email. So after this webinar today, I know we covered a lot fast. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. With that said, I'm going to read over here and see where what we got for questions. First question I got is, where is it safe to travel in the fall, September and October? Hard to say. Really optimistic that the US is about 6 weeks ahead of the rest of the world, or at least Europe or a lot of places, on vaccines. So as you're starting to see us open up widely, there's a little bit of a delay and a lag. I would say by September, October, it's going to be easier to say what's not open. I know, like, for example, we do a lot of work in New Zealand, and they're not going to be open. They're lockdown tight. But I think I would say 75–80% of the world will be open. A lot of it's going to be open with proof of vaccine. That's what we're seeing a real trend for now. In fact, we just got word that Yellowstone National Park right here at home is going to require vaccines, or proof of a negative test. Vaccine much easier. So a lot of pressure being put on now to get people vaccinated. And as that rolls out and the rest of the world catches up, I know that Croatia is really popular this fall. I love Croatia in September. Spain in September is great. So I would think the limitations of where we can't go are going to be pretty minimal. Excuse me, let's see what else we got. Where was it safe to travel over the holiday season? Great question. I think what we're seeing now is, again, it's going to be open. So we're seeing lots of interest in our usual Costa Rica, Galapagos, Peru. Those are all destinations that are pretty popular during the winter months anyways. So I think it's safe to say that the majority, any place that you would have gone 2 years ago, for the holidays, will probably be safe and good to travel there now. Costa Rica is going through a third wave right now. Originally, they were way ahead of everybody else. They did an amazing job. They really barely shut down at all. We've been going there nonstop because they really have treated it, safely and professionally. Same thing with the Galapagos. They're all struggling a little bit now with that famous third wave, the infamous third wave, but they're quickly getting it under control and moving forward. So I would say by the holidays, I'm a real fan of Costa Rica. So I push that a lot. I love Costa Rica. I've probably been 30 times, and I'd go again tomorrow. And I love the Costa Rica people. Let's see what else we got. One thing Wildland did really well is they would offer to customize a trip. Hope I covered that. You bet. We literally love it. I just finished a 21-day trip for a couple that is over the top, helicopter into the top of mountains, having private dinners, 2 guides for 2 people. Literally, if you can dream it, we can build it. Me personally, I like to get involved in those because I've got some experience, but they're also fun. A lot of our trips, we have a lot of scheduled programs that we've run the same trip for 20 years. They're great, they're amazing, they're fun. But building those custom challenges trips, and again, if you can dream it, we can build it. That's a lot of fun, and I really love doing it. Let's see what else we got here. Yep, I think again, we do it the same way. We literally work with you. We call it a discovery call. A little bit of a system. We're getting so many requests that we've had to instigate a bit of a system for it. Starts with a discovery call where you meet with one of our travel professionals, and we just have a list of questions to ask to make sure we get exactly what you're looking for. Everything from how many travelers to budget to desired destinations, and we just kind of take it from there. And then literally we work with you again over time to put together that price, to put together the activities, and put it all together and deliver it with a big bow on it. It's a great program. We've got guides that love customs. We have guides that we've got a half dozen teams that's all they do is the custom programs. And we're seeing, it's always been the case internationally. I swear Africa has been on the forefront of adventure travel since the Livingston days. So a lot of what we've learned, it's a little easier to do what the industry used to call FITs, foreign independent travelers in Africa, but that's spreading now. It's pretty common to do the independent traveler or the customs around the world. Let's see what else we got. Are there any places that we can still book later this year? You bet there is, whether it be domestic. We do have space domestically. It's getting tough. Yellowstone, Tetons, Alaska, they're all getting pretty full up. Later in the year, the better. Down the Southwest. So domestically, yes. Internationally is wide open, guys. Let's just be honest. We're probably at about, honestly, 5% of our international travel right now. So just about every place is open and they're begging for tourism. I was so impressed with Mexico and how warm and welcoming they were. It's great. The flights were empty. The customs was empty. I mean, it literally is not a bad, if you're up for it, it's not a bad time to travel. So lots of opportunity internationally. Domestic is getting a little bit tougher. Question is there such an easy internationally, what are some easy places to get to? An easy place, again, I'm going to go back to Costa Rica. Anything in let's just say Mexico or Central America, super easy to get to. You know, one flight, one stop, pretty darn easy to get to. So the airlines have opened up all destinations quite well, and they're adding more flights every day. Again, when I first booked my Kenya trip 3 months ago, I had like one flight option. Now there's 10. So things are coming back up to speed. Let's see what else we got. I think that's about it. Oh, I got a few more. Great overview. Are you offering discount price for Wildland Travelers? What we've done is we've gone ahead and embraced the Wildland Travelers with the same alumni program we have. So in other words, if you're a Wildland alumni, you are now an Austin Adventures alumni, and you get the same perks as a Austin Adventures guest does. And that's everything from, you know, again, special gifts when traveling, to discounts on a certain amount of trips, to, you know, discounts after a trip, to all kinds of different special evergreen programs for our travelers. You're all enrolled into those automatically. Let's see what else we got. Good question. If we book travel this year and can't book a trip and can't travel this year, we're really proud of the fact that we made it through COVID, or so far made it through COVID last year. I mean, with zero chargebacks, if somebody our policy was, first thing we did was we liberalized our policy, both our deposits, cancellations, refunds, all of that. We literally said that our best policy is no policy, meaning we worked with every single guest. Part of the benefit of being a small tour operator too, we worked with every single guest. If they wanted their money back, unfortunately, we gave them their money back. They wanted to reschedule, rebook, put the money in escrow. We worked with, and nothing's going to change. We're going to do the same thing this year. Literally, we don't expect it to be like last year. We lost, 75% of our business in the first couple months of COVID. We were on pace for a record year. And I remember going in and writing more checks going out than coming in for about a month. But again, it was the fact that we had some domestic product that really helped us a ton. A lot of tour operators don't have that domestic. They're all trying to pivot to it now. But again, that's where we started. So literally, that's the least of my worries. You can check out our cancellation policies are quite liberal. Our deposit policies are liberal. And then again, we just work with each and every guest to make sure they get what they're looking for. Let's see. Do you have some destinations that other adventure travel companies don't travel to? Boy, that's a tough question. I'm sure we do. I think it really comes down to, who might do it well. For example, there's a lot of companies in Yellowstone, but we've been there 35 years. We know it well. It's our backyard. Same thing with Europe. We got a program in Austria that I don't see many other companies running, but it's amazing. Great program, great. The Austrian people are awesome. That Moselle trip I mentioned on the bike ride, I haven't really seen anybody else doing that. So I'm sure we do. But there's an awful lot of great companies out there. I think that, one of my messages is always, we'd love to have you travel with us. We really would. But if you don't, choosing a travel professional, both an agent or a tour operator, it just takes the stress out of the traveling for you. I know a lot of people like to do it themselves. Totally respect that. Totally appreciate that. But we're dealing with it every day. And that's what we do. We're in and out of the parks. We're in and out of, so working with all the different tourism boards or travel associations to be in the know. It's what we do. So that's where I think we really add value, or tour operators add value, whether it be us or another one of many good ones out there. And there are some really good ones out there. Let's see what else we got. Got a few more coming in. Do you have any trips that don't involve hiking or biking? Obviously, yes, we do. A lot of the safaris are more, I don't know what you call it, sedentary, that you're more in safari vehicle, you're exploring, you're meeting with the local villagers, or so they're not quite as active. You can make them active, you can make them, you can do the bushwalks, you can do all that, but pretty much every tour, regardless what it is, it's at your pace. So whether or not it's a hiking tour or a biking tour, or just an adventure in its own right, literally the guides are always working to make sure you get what you're looking for out of it. And if you want to ride in the van or in the vehicles, that's fine. And then on custom tours, I'll be honest with you, we do lots of custom tours for special needs people, families with kids with special needs. So those are always a little bit different in their own right as well. So like to believe we can accommodate anyone, but we're real honest. We believe that sharing with you what the trip is all about, what the kind of activities that we're doing, and then letting you decide. So constantly working with you on that. Let's see. I think I got, do we have trips to Greenland? I apologize. We had, and then COVID hit, and I do not believe we've opened it back up yet. What I'd ask you to do is give us a call. We have a great guy on our international development team, Curtis Fox. Curtis is amazing. And again, if we don't do it, we likely have somebody. I know we've done it in the past. I don't think we have a scheduled program there now, but if we don't do it, we sure know who does. So just give us a call. We'll put you in touch with the right folks. Let's see, any more questions? Do you expect Portugal to open up before July? Do you work in Portugal? Yes, we do. Have a great program in Portugal and the Azores, which I actually like a little bit. Portugal's amazing. It's phenomenal. And the Azores are just a little bit different, but they're in that neighborhood. Do I expect it to open before July? Yes, I do. Might be the last minute. They've been really talking a lot about getting it open now. And then they talk about it this week, and then next week and next week. So I would say it's a fairly safe bet that it will be open by July. And again, tourism is so important to these countries around the world that they are doing everything they can to get open, but they're also trying to do it right and stay open and do it safely. So there is a lot to it. This COVID has been a very serious game changer around the world. And again, I think that everyone's doing the best they can. Vaccines are the difference maker. A lot of these countries, like Portugal, is talking about just wide open if you've been vaccinated. So I think that's the key. I'm not plugging vaccinations. I know that some people don't believe in them. I personally, my entire family got vaccinated before we went to Mexico, and it was extremely liberating. We really didn't think about it at all. And now I think I'd say by June, July, easy. Let's say July, easy. The world will be open to vaccinated people. Whether or not they're open to non-vaccinated people might be the next challenge. Let's see what else we got. Got any more? Do you have any trips to Antarctica or the Arctic? We actually have a great program down in Antarctica. And it's funny, Wildland and Wildland Adventures used the same ships in Antarctica. So it was a really easy transition for us. And we've got some folks traveling down there this fall. My son's actually going down there this fall to shoot it. So yes, we absolutely do. And again, it was the same program Wildlands used. I don't know if I'm missing any. Let's see. Looks like I've got them all, folks. Any last minute questions? Did I miss any? You guys have been awesome. If I missed any, please type them in now. Got one more go around, give it another minute. But I really thank you for taking the time today to listen to us, to hear more about who we are and what we do. I encourage you to get to know us, visit the website, sign up for the emails if you're not already getting, well, you're already getting them, but read the emails. We're big on communicating, what we're doing. with our guests. We're super happy to take phone calls and answer all your questions. We just know that choosing the right vacation and choosing the right tour operator is mission critical to getting you on the way to the right trip. So we hope it's us, but we're gonna, work with you to make sure that you're convinced it's us, or we're gonna help you go with somebody else. Either way, we just want everybody out there traveling. Let's get this world back opened up again. So literally, with that said, let me take one more time. That looks like about it, folks. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time today and your interest and your energy. Again, Dan at austinadventures.com. Love to hear from you. We're really looking forward to getting to know our Wildland guests. We've got quite a few travelers scheduled to travel this year. We're hearing from more every day. So literally, that's exciting that the transition's going well. So we're pretty excited about that. We're looking forward to you. Oops! Hold on one second. I got a new question. I think I understand it. Well, our group is all vaccinated. The risk adverse would want to go to a place that is highly vaccinated. I think that's domestic. I think international is just going to be a while to catch up. The travelers internationally are going to be vaccinated, but the actual host cities and the host, they're not. A lot of the rest of the world's behind, right? I mean, again, down in Mexico, they were at like 4 or 5%, and we were at 25%. Their protocol was great. And again, when you're going out to the outdoors, I'm not worried about going to Africa at all, because you get out of these bush camps and you're miles and miles and miles away from any kind of crowds or people. So I just take it on a case-by-case basis. But if you're vaccinated, I'm super pro-vaccination. I feel like if you're vaccinated, you're bulletproof. But I'm sure that's not true, but I kind of feel that way. So let's see. Yep, that looks like it, folks. So with that, I'll call it a night. Thank you again. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you joining us today. I hope I answered your questions. Hope I didn't go too fast and blab along. But thank you, and we'll look forward to hearing from you. So with that, good night, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye now.